Hi. So even before I introduce myself, I want to tell you about the purpose. And that is to see your diversity as a strength, not a barrier. Whether that be gender, age, ethnicity, sexual orientation, socioeconomic background, that blend of facets makes you individual. I want you to embrace your journey. I want you to embrace your diversity and experiences. And those are your strengths. And through your strengths, you can achieve anything. So let's get into it. I'm Neeraj Bhasin. I'm a consultant vascular surgeon and former associate medical director at the Calderdale and Huddersfield NHS Foundation Trust. I'm also the regional clinical director for vascular services across West Yorkshire on behalf of the West Yorkshire Association of Acute Trusts. For this Equality, Diversity and Inclusion module of the CHFT Empower Programme, I've been asked to tell my story, my thoughts, my perceptions, my feelings. And I've titled it, Neither Here Nor There, but All Good. I was thinking about how I'd structure this, and we have an internal quality improvement methodology called the 3 R's. Now, this is not how it was traditionally used, but I'm going to tell you stories to establish my reality. I'm then going to talk to you about what was the response that then gives you the result today. I'll start with Dad. Dad came in 1966 after qualifying as a doctor, and as were the rules at that time, he came with £3 in his pocket and a 20-kilogram suitcase. That probably means that at the moment accounts for why he doesn't really throw anything away. We actually have 3 washing machines that are all broken that sit in his garage just in case. He aspired to be an orthopaedic surgeon, and he also wanted to play cricket. He was a wicket-keeper and opening batsman. But his initial experiences and how he was treated due to his ethnicity played a significant part in why he gave up on that aspiration and his main hobby. Dad was soon followed by Mum, and Mum has a degree in English and she can absolutely sound like the Queen when she's on the phone. So when Dad was at work, Mum used to ring up trying to find accommodation for them. And they had the experience of going to a house, the person opening the door, looking at them, and then just saying, well, you didn't sound like one of them on the phone, and then just shut the door in their face. I grew up as the youngest of 3. I felt cared for, loved, secure, and happy. I grew up in Huddersfield with Dad's surgery on the side of our house. And this is when there was the first joke about my ethnicity. And the joke was that I was a posh Indian. The stereotype at that time was that Asians came over, set up a corner shop, and they lived above their corner shop. I was a posh Indian because I didn't live above a corner shop, I lived above a surgery. Occasionally, Dad's parents, Dadaji and Dadiji, came to live with us. And Dadiji would make breakfast. I'd wake up to the sound of a pressure cooker going off and the smell of freshly made parathas. But I was conscious because my coat was hanging on a peg near the kitchen, and I was worried about getting on the school bus smelling of Indian food and how people would perceive that and perceive me because of that. It was a worry for me. I grew up pretty badly dressed, didn't have a set of jeans till I was 16, but I grew up eating Indian food, celebrating Indian ceremonies, and surrounded by Indian friends and family. We had 2 English films on VHS, The Sound of Music and Star Wars, and now I can pretty much still to this day sing every word of the songs in The Sound of Music, and I get a little bit over emotional when I see an X-Wing. Again, a lovely paisley shirt. Another one of Dad's aspirations was to own a maroon Mercedes. And after an immense amount of hard work and sacrifice, he achieved that. But Dad went out in the morning to find the word Paki graffitied all the way across our garage and the fact that someone had actually urinated on the car. But despite all of that, I was in a bubble. My parents never let me feel unsafe, and I was happy. I then moved to college, and that's when my adult life began. I got exposed to the wider world, and I started to develop a racial awareness. There was a group of kids Asian kids at college who were only friends with other Asian kids. But due to the way that I spoke and due to my friends, I was abused by them. I was called coconut or bounty, meaning brown on the outside and white on the inside. It was somehow as if that I was betraying my heritage or not being true to my skin colour. I then started to socialise more widely, and this text says, "Hello, my name is Neeraj." Regularly, and to this day, I hear various pronunciations of my name, the best of my first name being Neerash, and with my surname regularly getting Basin or Bashin. But the worst is when people say, "That's just too complicated, I'm just going to call you Bob." No, you're not. The other question I get asked is, "Where are you from?" I say, "I'm from Huddersfield." And they go, "No, where are you really from?" And I was going, "Okay, I was born in Kent, but I moved to Huddersfield when I was a year old." That's not the answer they're looking for. After university in London, I came back and did my first true junior doctor job in A&E in the Royal Halifax Infirmary. And that's when I was attacked by a patient because they didn't want to be treated by a Paki. Also, for those patients who can't speak English, I tried to talk in Hindi. My white colleagues were amazed that I could do this. And those doctors that were on the ward round with me who perhaps came from India smirked at each other due to my accent and my broken Hindi, coming back to the coconut scenario. Over the years, I had the standard shouts of "go back where you came from," getting bumped into in bars, and actually got threatened with a stabbing in London because I had a white girlfriend. But I recount all of that as if it's normal and accepted. This is my father-in-law. I have a fantastic relationship with my father-in-law. When my wife and I got engaged, he lived in Spain and we went out there to celebrate. And like any good father would, looking out for his daughter, he took her to one side and actually asked if she's considered the potential implications of marrying me culturally. Fair question. So I didn't feel complete belonging in England, so neither here. As a young adult, I went to India alone for the first time, and that's when things got really interesting. Although I absolutely loved it, I realised I didn't fit in there either. I stuck out because of my clothes, my approach, my accent. So my reality was, I did not feel complete belonging or acceptance in England or in India. Neither here nor there. So what was the response that led to the result of all good? These two you saw earlier grew into a corporate lawyer and a fast jet fighter pilot. I didn't identify them as role models. They didn't do anything directly, but I watched them and I didn't think there was anything I could not achieve. They removed the perception of a glass ceiling. They prevented boundaries entering my head, and they showed me that there were no limits. So come back to the response. It wasn't intentional, but to overwhelm all of that negativity from the reality, the vast majority of people were brilliant. I made friends in college who I stood side by side with and continue to do so after 30 years. And one of them asked me to be best man at his civil partnership. At university, whether it be in the accommodation, rugby, hockey or cricket pitches, in lectures, in the bar, I never experienced any prejudice. Groups of people made me realise it didn't matter what I was. I realised that good people accepted me for who I was, and those who didn't wasn't my problem. This picture is of an outdoor boot camp that I joined for exercise. The boot camp was made up of really different people, different backgrounds, different roles and jobs, and that made me quite conscious and anxious, but it was one of the best things I ever did. That breadth, that diverse group of people embraced each other, helped each other physically and mentally, built each other up and gave each other massive amounts of confidence. Then it gets to the point where you're asked to be a godparent to this little one, and a friend invests more in who you are than the colour of your skin. I met more people who gave me the confidence to walk into any room and be proud of myself, be proud of my experiences, and be proud of my diversity. And I then met someone who enhanced that, who gelled that pride and confidence together and brought a strength to it. Someone who embraces and respects all that is good about sharing and blending those cultures and created a family of diversity. But that's all personally. We spend a lot of time at work and many may feel that's where the problem can be. So I have to stop for this gentleman. A chance meeting where he took me under his wing as a junior doctor, took me to the point where I was ready to be a consultant and now works alongside me as a peer in this region. Along with the others on this slide, I knew that if I worked hard, if I hit the expected standards, I'd be fine. The colour of my skin was never a question. All that counted to these people were my professional and personal qualities. Then I didn't find a place of work. Then I found belonging. I did, however, get to the point where I was a bit fed up standing in corridors and car parks saying, I don't like this, I think this needs changing. And I realised that the best way of changing things are from the inside. The best way of changing things are actually to get involved, be a role model, understand that strength in your diversity. So I applied for a leadership role as Associate Medical Director. I was given the opportunity to lead. And at this stage, I further developed that racial awareness. It developed into the fact that I was aware I had a responsibility to help others. But I was clear I did not want positive discrimination. I wanted to be in a room because I was the right person for the job. I did not want to be in a room because I felt I was fulfilling an organisation's target. I built confidence, more positivity and more good people. These people created a response for me that was much greater than those who created the reality. I realised that my differences were a strength. If an elderly Asian lady comes into a consultation with me, I know that I can respond with the same empathy and build the same rapport as if an elderly Yorkshire gentleman comes in and starts his consultation with, now then. My differences make me stronger. So the result, is it perfect? No. I'm still conscious when I walk into certain situations. But I take the confidence, I take the pride and the strength that has been given to me by good people, and I will demonstrate behaviours that gives nothing to the negative people. Overall, I'm all good. We're comfortable in either situation, and the boys are as happy cooking a roast with grandma as they are cooking chapatis with Dadiji. And this comes back to how my racial awareness, that concept of identity, has grown since I first described it starting at college. I really hope some of this makes you feel seen. I really hope that there's something you can relate to, something that gives you confidence. I felt I could do this after seeing others. Jasu Aluwalia, who gives a great TED talk, who describes not being half of each, but both. Both, not half. Sasha Darwin in this article describes the best of both. And we all have a responsibility to those who come after us. You cannot be what you cannot see. So we've come full circle to my purpose, whether it be your gender, your age, your ethnicity, your sexual orientation, your socioeconomic background. That blend makes you, you. Your experiences and your diversity are a strength, so be proud of them. So go, achieve, go, excel. Thank you.